One of the things that I really disagreed with in Graham's video, one of Graham's recent videos, he kind of said it like in a bragging mic drop way towards at the end of his video, where he said, Flint starts from the known to the unknown. I start from the unknown. And that to me was like, huh? Because methodology 101, it doesn't have to be science, it doesn't have to be math, it doesn't have to be historical method, scientific method, doesn't matter. That is just, you always start from the known. That's not Flint Dibble's quote. Flint Dibble didn't invent start from the known to the unknown. That's everybody in any field of humanities, science, math. Like, that's just like methodology 101 is you start with the data and then you test out hypotheses, and then you observe things. You don't just go, all right, you know what? I'm going to start with elves underneath the ocean, and then I'm going to...
All right, you're going to say, well, he's wrong with his mindset, because he doesn't realize what you have to understand is science starts from the unknown. You don't know if something is something until you do an experiment. The reason you do an experiment is because you don't know what it is you don't know, right? You don't know why the sun produces heat. So then you do experiments to find out. You don't know why when you throw an apple in the air, it falls down. You do experiments to try to figure out why. You don't know why an apple and a feather hit the ground at the same exact time until you do experiments and find out why, right? And the list goes on. Science has always been about starting from the unknown and then doing experiments to try to find out the known, which is to find out why this thing does what it does, or if this unknown thing is real, right? Like, for example, you can, just like there's people out there that's like, I'm going to try to prove God is real. Okay, well, that's a hypothesis. And the unknown, right? Now prove it scientifically, right? Through experiments and stuff. And that's the whole point of science, is you start from the unknown and work your way to the known. Now, what Flint Dibble was saying when he uses the expression, we start from the known and work our way to the unknown, one, that proves the unknown exists, obviously, right? The things you don't know, you don't know. And then the stuff you do know, which is, hey, look, pyramids. Well, we know that is a thing because we can see it. We have evidence of it because it physically exists. But how did it get here? What is it for? Who built it? Blah, 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 right? Then you start asking questions. And the questions is about the unknown. You don't ask questions when you already know the answers, right? Answers are the known. Questions are the unknown. So when Graham Hancock is talking about, oh, he starts from the unknown, yeah, he asks us a question. Was there ever a civilization in the past equally as advanced as us, less advanced than us, but close, or more advanced than us? Essentially, that's what his question is was there ever any other advanced civilization in the past that would, he doesn't say this, but this is what he's trying to lead to, is would that be the reason for, I mean, logically would be the reason for why we exist, why the human race has survived for so many, hundreds of thousands of years, and we always seem to create civilizations. The Romans is a civilization, the Mayans are civilizations, the Olmecs, America, the list goes on. So we know for a fact civilizations exist, so why an advanced one would not exist? Makes no sense. If a civilization can exist, then an advanced version of it should also be able to exist, right? So then you get into the whole proving a negative. It's like, well, we have no evidence of Atlantis because it's missing, it's lost. That's the point of loss. It means we don't know where it's at. Therefore, we can't prove it directly that it exists. So then how do you prove the existence of something without direct evidence of the existence of that something? It's called indirect evidence. You have to find evidence of the thing you don't have evidence for through other means, a different way, a different direction, from a different point of view. I use the example of like the grandfather thing. It's like, how do you know that you had a grandfather that existed 3,000 years ago, a great-great-great-great-grandfather that existed 3,000 years ago? How do you know? Do you have any evidence? Probably not. But if I was to ask you, did you ever have a grandfather that existed 3,000 years ago? It'd be very difficult and not logical to say no. You want to know why it'd be illogical to say no? You never had a grandfather, a great-great-great-great-grandfather that existed 3,000 years ago? Because you exist. Your own existence is the indirect evidence that you had a great-great-great-great-grandfather that existed 3,000 years ago. Right? Now, there could be, you could say this like, well, based off of that person's lineage, they didn't have a grandfather 3,000 years ago. They had a grandfather 2,000 years ago, because that's when his bloodline started. It's like, okay, fair enough, But the point I'm making with that is, it's not like exact dates or anything like that. It's about the way we know you did have an ancestor is because you exist. Your existence is the indirect evidence that you had ancestors, that people did exist before you, because you can't exist without them. That's the point. Just like the reason why people talk about, oh, God created all of us, and that's why we exist. Okay, logical, or fair enough. Fair enough, because it's like, well, where did we come from, right? Our existence is indirect evidence of God's existence. So that's my go-to, answer to, is God real or not? Well, we exist, so he has to exist, or God has to exist, right? Because it's the whole two sides of the same coin concept. So, just wanted to point that out.